The first Fiat 500, the Topolino, German for little mouse. Klaus Witzig has a 1950s version. And when he goes out for a drive, he often meets someone who knows more than he does, Italians like Giuseppe.
I come from Sardinia, from the village Pozzo Maggiore. In the 50s and 60s, these cars were driven by the rich people.
Because back then, the small four-stroke engine was anything but a cheap compact car.
I think at the time it cost about 3 or 4 million old lira. My father always said that with 10 lira, you could buy a horse or an ox.
Built from 1936 to 1955 in the Turin Mia Fore factory, the workers assembled 500,000 Topolinos during this time in 3 versions, Model A, B, and C. These historic photographs show the production of the Topolino A. Its engine had displacement of 569 cubic centimeters with just 13 horsepower at 4,000 revolutions per minute. The development engineer Dante Giacosa got the order to build a new car for 1,000 new lira. He didn't succeed. The Topolino cost 8,900 lira. Nevertheless, with this car, the Italians became mobile. Klaus Witzig got his 1950 Topolino C from Italy.
It comes from Friaul near Udine, from a pharmacist, beautifully maintained. I got it in a very good condition, body-wise as well as technically. I have always looked after it and always driven it. This has become a family member for us.
Witzig has kept this car in top condition for over 10 years. He's very happy, especially about one detail.
This is an awning. It is used for land tours when the sun shines too brightly to drive with it open. Then you put that on and you are sitting in the fresh air, but protected from the sun. Wonderful.
In its time, the Topolino was a very modern vehicle.
The engine is 580 cubic centimeters, a thoroughly modern design principle. An overhead camshaft, a front engine, longitudinally mounted with rear-wheel drive, 16.5 horsepower. A mountain is a mountain. You notice every gram, so you shouldn't eat too much before you go on a tour. Each additional child in the backseat slows down the temperament.
At that time, no obstacle for an alpine crossing. After all, the Topolino C had 3.5 horsepower more than its predecessors, the A and B. The 4-speed gearbox was synchronized only in 3rd and 4th gear. Changing down to 2nd gear and 1st gear was only possible with intermediate gas. Another detail, the fresh air supply, but that only works when driving. Already electric, the indicator signals. The Fiat Topolino engineering, straightforward and simple. Nevertheless, for maintenance and repairs, specialists are the best choice over normal Fiat workshops, because grease fittings, flexible coupling and leaf springs could be unknown worlds for staff. And in good condition, the Little Mouse has long since ceased to be inexpensive to come by. However, the supply of spare parts is good and prices are moderate. In this respect, it's also possible to easily restore a vehicle in 3rd condition or less. Even if the little one hits 90 top speed, the driver and car feel really good at about 75 kilometers an hour. The Fiat 500 Topolino, rediscovery of slowness. The Fiat era began 50 years earlier. In the 20s, Fiat was the largest car manufacturer in Italy. Those responsible saw that the car would no longer be the toy of a few rich people. In Lagotto, near Turin, a huge new car factory was built, with its own 1-kilometer test track on the roof of the building. In 1899, co-founder of the Fabbrica Italiana Automobili Torino built the first vehicles in the center of Turin, on Corso Dante Giovanni Agnelli. The Fiat Museum has been located here since 1963.
Questo è il centro storico Fiat.
This is the historical Fiat Museum, the brand museum. Here most of the products of the group from the 20th century are on display. Bicycles, trucks, agricultural machinery, airplanes, etc. All these products are displayed in the museum.
Diversità di prodotti è stata raccolta.
This is important because, of course, the viewer gets to know the relationships of the group much better when he sees, for example, that the parts in an aircraft engine can again be found as parts in a car.
Prodotti che altrimenti non riusciremmo a capire.
The people from Turin became famous, however, with cars for the little man, like the Balilla 508, a small sedan with a 4-cylinder engine. Here is a 508S Roadster with 36 horsepower and already 115 kilometers an hour fast. It is considered as being the sports car of the little man. It was twice as expensive as the Topolino, with an original price of around 16,000 lira. The small Fiat started in races like the famous Mille Miglia. In 1947, this 1100S achieved overall 5th place, developed by engineer and later designer Dante Giacosa. The success story of the people from Turin continued after the war. The 500 Topolino ceased production in Turin in 1955. The sequel was already in the starting blocks, but was a further 2 years away. In contrast to the Topolino, the new one was called Cinquecento Nuova. The old and the new 500 models did not have any technical commonalities. The new with the air-cooled rear engine is a perennial favorite. Up to 1977, over 3 million Cinquecentos came off the production line. But the need for comfort grew. The 500 with its little 2-cylinder mini-engine is not suitable for families, and the answer is the 600, Cinquecento. But the car that brought the mass motorization of Italy forward from 2 wheels, the scooter, to the car was the Cinquecento. It was the first Fiat 4-cylinder rear engine with a 600 cc, 21 horsepower and a top speed of 95 kilometers per hour. The golden 60s era also came to Italy, and with it, the Cinquecento. From it came the Multipla, the first minivan in car history. Car without a front end, in front of the windshield and a small transport miracle, but it didn't develop into a bestseller. Fiat continued to think of the little man, and in 1972 the 126 entered as a successor to the 500, but had to share the market with it until 77. An all-rounder, and naturally, like the 500, a car to love with many nicknames. In Germany, Bambino. In Poland, Little One. And in Serbia, Little Electric Iron. All Fiat models can be seen at the Centro Storico in Turin. The museum is really worth a visit, not only for compact car fans.